Good morning, gamers. It is a beautiful Sunday morning here in the mighty city of St. Louis. It is May 21st, 2023. It is the day after a convention. It is a one-day convention, not as wiped as I might be after a three-day convention. It's a monthly convention, though. Most of the conventions that I participated in my life, I think most conventions on the scene, are annual conventions. And, no matter how, you gotta wait a whole nother year to have one like that, or have one in that location, or have one, organized by those people, or, to have that same kind of experience. You gotta wait a whole nother year for Gen Con or whatever convention you've got. Here in the mighty city of St. Louis, there's an annual convention called Archon. But the GEA Game Day convention is every month. Yeah. So we just had the May 2023 GEA Game Day convention in St. Clair, Missouri. And the next one is coming up on June 24th in St. Clair, Missouri. So this was the first GEA Game Club convention that I'd been to in many, many years. And we launched the LOFT project. Got some new players involved in our campaign that's been going since 1987. And, John, this video is supposed to be about the Dwarf. Okay, the Dwarf. As we continue to add something you can play every day here, and the list is going to go on, I can promise you, the list is going to go on a lot longer than people think. But we are one thing at a time, though, one day at a time. And we're making our way through the Old School Essentials Advanced. And so today we're talking about the Dwarf. So the regular Dwarf, not the Dwergar from yesterday. And I'm not really sure there's a whole lot to say about it. I could tell some stories about people that have played Dwarves in my campaign before. There's a gentleman from my high school and early college days. And he actually played a Dwarf with... just fiery red hair and beard. And he was from Clan Firehead. And Clan Firehead was known for having berserkers. Not every single member of the clan was a berserker, but it was kind of like a trait that just kind of ran in the clan. Like there was just something a little unstable about these guys. But unstable in a good way, because it made them berserker fighters. So we're talking about the second edition days at this point. And Berserker was a fighter kit in the Complete Fighter's Handbook. These days, if you were doing 5th edition and you wanted to do something like that, you'd make them barbarians, probably battle ragers. But yeah, we're not doing 5th edition right now. We've gone old school. We've gone back to old school essentials. So berserking and old school essentials is a little more of a role play thing. But we're not talking about berserking. We're talking about dwarves. I think dwarves are pretty self-explanatory. Because, even long before gaming came along or D&D came along when I was a little kid, there's that fairy tale, and the Disney, thing about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I think everybody knows what dwarves are. And the dwarves in Snow White's world, they mined out of the earth, and so there was that connection already, even with those fairy tale dwarves, in terms of how dwarves are related to pop culture. If you've got any questions about dwarves, I guess you can ask me, but I think, obviously they deserve their own video. They deserve their own place on this list, but I'm just not sure there's a lot to explain about dwarves. One thing that I do enjoy a lot, I enjoy the humor of J.V. West, the guy who does Black Pudding and stuff. And in Black Pudding number 7, he finally started doing a gazetteer of a world where all of his gags and jokes and just cheesy, funny stuff works. And in that world, apparently, there is a bitter hatred between the dwarfs with an F, dwarfs, and the dwarves with a V. And of course, the gag here is that there's absolutely no difference between them. Stat block wise, appearance wise, culture wise, just nothing, no difference at all. It's completely it's silliness. It's the kind of silliness that you find in Black Pudding from J.V. West. But yeah, if you enjoy, dwarves, we got them. They're a staple standard part of D&D. In fact, it would be weird if we didn't have dwarves. Lately, for the past couple months, some of our tables have been experimenting with Dark Sun. because a couple of months ago, Wizards of the Coast decided, oh, we're never doing Dark Sun again. It's too problematic. And if you were here, you'd see me make air quotes around the word problematic. And one of the things about the dwarves in the Dark Sun world is, in order to adapt to the world the way that is, the dwarves have lost all their body hair, all of it. No eyebrows, no hair on the top of their head, no nothing. When those Dark Sun dwarves, at one point in the metaplot storyline in the novels and everything, those dwarves discover an ancient dwarven city, buried underground from the Green Age, when that world was more of a normal D&D world before it got all messed up as Dark Sun. And those dwarves find art that depicts them as having beards and everything. And at this point, dwarves think hair is gross. And so they're, our ancestors had hair. And they look away from that art like it's shameful or something. So, that's kind of humorous there in Dark Sun. And Dark Sun's pretty dark, so it's interesting to see some humor there. But so I'm just kind of rambling about dwarves now. But I think, hey, they're dwarves. If you really have any questions, if you want to get into the debate like people do sometimes, do female dwarves have beards and all that kind of stuff? Ultimately, it's up to the DM and the lore. I think in the lore that we use, female dwarves have beards, but a lot of female dwarves might shave them off. If they, if there's nothing that says your character has to have one. That's dwarves. All right, so tomorrow we will get into High Elves. And we're just going to keep making our way through the Old School Essentials Advanced book. And then we've got tons of stuff beyond that. So in the meantime, the next GEA Game Day is coming up on May 24th. We have a podcast in the works. There's all sorts of, starting tonight. Tonight's a 5e table. Tonight's a holdover 5e table. But in our OSE LOFT project tables, there's adventure receipts that we're doing now. That's a couple videos ago. We explained those. There's just a lot of good stuff happening here. We've got some other GMs that we've brought on board. So we've got a few more nights and tables that you can game with me in the LOFT project. And then I've got other DMs ready to go. I'll probably start putting the first one up in a few weeks on the website so you can get a chance to meet that person. We'll do meet and greets to try to match people to the right game master, because not everybody's for everyone. I did a video a couple days ago on personality about that. So, for a video about dwarves, I go on talking about a whole bunch of other stuff, but there's a bunch of exciting stuff happening, and I think people know about dwarves. So, all right. There are like and subscribe options below. There's social media options below. There's options to game with us below. And there's options to sign up for GM Academy and get personal Game Master coaching below. So in the meantime, I will see you around the gaming table.